coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to this somewhat gloomy afternoon here in South Africa. There were some kudos, and this is Safari Live. Ready? Hello, and welcome to the African Bush. A big special welcome to the schools joining us today, which are Allenton, Malibu, and Newlyn. It's great to have you on board, guys. I can't wait to hear your questions. Oh, there's a pretty bird. There you go, a beautiful bird called a lilac-breasted roller. You can see those magnificent colours. Now, they are insect eaters, so they like to sit around where there's lots of grass and swoop down on grasshoppers and other insects that might pop out in front of them. Aren't they very, very pretty? Now, as I said, it's a little bit of an overcast day, but that's good news because it means the big cats might be on the move. I'm busy looking for a leopard at the moment, and I'm very excited to see if we find one. Now, it was a male leopard that came in from the west. And my name is Brent, and I have my very good friend and cameraman Brian, who's got a damp mushroom thumb that's growing on this damp weather today. Now, I don't think it's going to rain, fortunately, but I think it is. It's not going to get too warm. It's about 24 degrees Celsius, which is 80 odd Fahrenheit. Now, there's a couple of leopards that utilize this area. One is our dominant female, Karula, and this is almost the boundary between her and her daughter, Shadow, who is to the west, and Karula is to the east. So we've got a chance of either of them. We've also got a chance at Tingana, who's a big dominant male, and he was the one who was seen not too far away from here this morning. Jordan, and Jordan would like to know, what is it like to be on safari? Is it scary or is it fun? Well, I think it's lots of fun, Jordan. You can have some scary moments, but I think it's lots of fun. Brian, what do you think?
No, I think it's great fun.
Great fun, there we go. We all think it's great fun here at Safari Live. Now, it's even more fun when you find big cats and elephants and things, so hopefully we'll be able to find you some of those animals. And if not, there's always something interesting to show you or teach you about the bush. There's flowers, there's butterflies, there's birds, grasses and trees even. Now, Kingston was asking a question, I didn't quite hear it. Are there deadly animals here? Deadly animals. Yes, there are indeed, Kingston. There are lions, there are elephants, there are buffalo, there are hippopotamus, leopards and hyenas. So we do have some potentially deadly animals here. Oh, there's another. All the pretty birds seem to be out today. Another very beautiful bird in the tree called a woodlands kingfisher. There it is. Now, you can see that electric blue on his back and on the side of his wings. Now, woodlands kingfishers are kingfishers that don't eat fish. So there are quite a few different species of kingfisher that are insectivores. So they like to eat bugs mostly, grasshoppers. They will sometimes eat small lizards and snakes as well. Now, they are migrants, so they don't like winter. They don't like being cold, so what they do is, when we're nice and warm and sunny and hot, like we are at the moment, when the rains are here and there's lots of bugs around, they move from West Africa, and as soon as we start getting into our dry season and cool season, they'll fly back to where it's warm and wet again. chasing all the bugs that they can eat. Now, Sienna is saying, how is that bird so colourful? Well, Sienna, it's got pigments in its feathers that produce those colours. Now, birds are often very colourful, so they can attract mates. So it's how they find girlfriends and boyfriends, by being colourful. Let's leave the woodlands. He's finished. Looks like he's having a little bath. And let's keep moving, see what else we can find. Very pleasant temperature to go on safari today. Hopefully we're going to, the leopards think so as well. So I'm going to start looking quite carefully now. What I'm doing is I'm looking for tracks. So that's how we find the animals here. Unless we get very lucky and we just spot them while we're driving. We want to look for footprints on the road, and those footprints will give us an idea in what direction those animals are going. Aha, let's see what's on the open plains here. Doesn't look like much today. Where's everything hiding? Oh, very quiet. Well, we're just going to have to keep checking. There's another. Oh no, it's flown away. Hi, Lana. Lana would like to know, are there lots of bird species here? Indeed there are, Lana. Well, here's another one. They are called crowned lapwings. There's over about 400 possible bird species in the greater Kruger area. So we do have lots and lots of birds. In the whole of Africa, there's about 2,300 different bird species. So lots and lots of birds. These are lapwings, and they are ground birds. So they like to spend most of their time on the ground. They sleep on the ground, and they even make their nests on the ground. And their nests are very, very camouflaged. Their eggs look like little stones, so other animals can't find it. Well, all the mammals seem to be hiding, but the birds are out in full force. Very noisy. Now, of course, guys, I'm not the only one out here. We've even got someone who's on a bush walk. So let's go meet Taylor.
Afternoon. Can you believe it that I'm out here walking around in Africa on foot? My name is Taylor, and on camera with me this afternoon is VM, and of course the mighty protector Herbert is out and about with his very sharp eagle eyes, making sure no animals are trying to sneak up on us. Now I believe we've got a couple of schools who have joined us today. We are so excited to have you here. So remember to ask as many questions as you can, and we look forward to hearing from all of you. And well, it's a beautiful day. Like Brent said, it's not too hot, it's a little bit gloomy, but I'll tell you a secret. I love this weather. The reason why I love this weather is because normally there are not too many insects flying around, which is very nice, and also that blazing hot sun doesn't burn your skin. So look at it. A little bit dark and gloomy, but like Brett said, maybe you'll get some rain tonight. I don't think this afternoon. And with, of course, the dark clouds and lots of rain comes all this beautiful green, lush vegetation. Now, this area, I must tell you, we had lots and lots of rain. Oh, hello, Maya, you were actually wondering if it rains here. We get lots and lots of rain. We had so much rain that this entire area, this big open plain that we're looking at, was all bright green. And then, Maya, can you believe it? Because it's summer here in South Africa, within about 3 weeks, we didn't have a drop of rain, and this whole area turned yellow. Like straw. It looked like straw. And then we had some nice rain over the past few days, so all this green vegetation is coming out, which means that all the animals will be very, very happy, and hopefully they're going to come back to this area to eat the nice lush green grass. And our plan this afternoon is actually to head around all the way around this big open plain, and down below us is actually a big dam that I'm sure is full of water, and I'm hoping to maybe find some tadpoles, baby frogs, or maybe some terrapins, which is like a swimming tortoise, maybe even a couple of really cool plants and bugs. So how many of you would like to see some bugs? So what I want you to do is, I have to tell you, is that I can actually hear you if you all shout loud enough. So on 3, you're going to have to shout at the top of your voices if you want to see bugs. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. I think I heard all of you. I think the boys want to see more and more bugs than the girls though. So we're going to keep walking. Come with me. Let's go have a walk. Now, I have to show you one of my favorite trees. And it's all these big, beautiful trees that you see around here. Jordan, as we walk to one of the, well, not only my favorite tree, but also a leopard's favorite tree and an elephant's favorite tree. You're wondering, Jordan, do you have to be very brave to do a job like this? I'll tell you a secret. You don't have to be very brave at all. But I promise you, once you realize that the animals aren't out here to hurt us, and we go and we view them every single day, we learn about the footprints that they leave behind, we learn about the different bugs and birds that you've been doing a lot of birding with Brent, I believe. You love it. It's the best thing rather than having to sit in an office all day. Now, this tree, and if you've been watching for a while, you will know probably what this tree is called, but I'll remind all of you, it's a marula tree. And it's a beautiful tree. It's got the most fantastic bark. And there's many reasons why leopards like this tree, but it's very nice. It's got nice horizontal branches for them to lay out on. But I think that the elephants like this tree more. And one of the reasons is because of the bark. You can't feel it, but it's nice and smooth, but it's also a little bit rough. So when an elephant has got an itchy bottom, because maybe a tick or a fly or something has bitten it, it does this. And gives his bum a good scratch and helps take away that itch. And sometimes, and we might see it when we go to the dam where there's lots and lots of mud, is that if we look on a tree like this, a nice big tree, we might even find patches of mud with parasites inside. Parker, now you this afternoon if there are any fruit trees. We're looking at one, the marula. Oh, Carter, sorry, not Parker. Carter, I apologize for that. So yes, there are, and this is a fruit tree. This is a tree that actually has got fruit at the moment. Come and have a look. I can't find a fresh one, but I can definitely find you a fruit that an elephant has eaten. Come and look in this dung over here. So a big pile of elephant poop. Can you believe it? It looks a bit old though. It doesn't look very fresh. It looks like there's some ants and termites living in here. I think a few birds have even come through and sort of scraped about looking for seeds and of course the termites. But let me find a marula fruit. It means we've got to do some digging. Where are the marulas? Yeah. Aubrey? I have indeed seen plenty of elephants. There are lots and lots of elephants out here, and maybe if we're lucky we'll see one on foot. Otherwise we're going to have to ask Tristan and Brent very nicely. Now Carter, here's the leftovers of the here's the skin. This is what I'm looking for. So look at this. So this is the skin of the marula fruit. So that's what it looks, almost looks like a bit like an apricot. And now this is the big seed that goes inside here. And then there's a white flesh. If you've ever eaten a lychee before, it looks like a lychee inside, but it isn't. It's very nice, a little bit sweet, a little bit sour. It tastes like a lemon, and something else. I can't put my finger on it. And this is very, very good. You are maybe walking around, or you've done lots of exercise, feeling a little bit tired. This is really good. It's like an energy in a little fruit. Put it in your mouth, you squeeze it in your mouth. I'm not going to put this one in my mouth because it's been in an elephant's stomach and now in its poop. And you squeeze it in, you suck it, and you chew as much of the flesh off as you can, and then you spit it out. And then the squirrels will eat the nuts inside, because there's even little nuts in here. Might be hard to show you because this one has still got, looks like something was actually eating this. This wasn't an elephant that's done this. I can't show you a seed, but we'll find one at some point. But they're really tasty, really nutritious, and all the animals love to eat them. The elephants will bite down on them, almost like eating an ice lolly in summer, and it's so lovely and juicy, and then they swallow it. So an elephant's stomach is not very good at digesting its food. So that's why you see so much left behind, and that's why we get to see pretty much most of the fruit. Sometimes they don't even bite down on the fruit. You'll see an entire fruit in elephant dung, and it's delicious because it's been baked twice. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down to that dam and see if we can find you some tadpoles or something really cool to have a look at. But let's go back to Limpy Leo Smith and see how his afternoon is treating him.
Well, we're still searching for that leopard, and I'm hoping he came out around here somewhere. Now, Taylor referring to me as Limpy Leo Smith. Yes, I hurt my toe, but I'm not limping that badly. Okay, so this is a pretty much opposite where Tristan left that leopard on the sunrise safari. So this is always a good spot to check. Hi Jenna. Jenna wants to know, how do we know where the animals are? Well, Jenna, we've got to find them. So we look for their footprints, we listen for different sounds that might tell us where they are, but mostly by being out there and looking everywhere is how we find them. Well, let's see if there's a leopard footprint. Is that a leopard footprint? It is not. Now I'm just going to talk on the Game Drive radio quickly. We're in touch with all the other guides. I've done Impala Road, now Zoe's towards Garimane. So I'm just letting the other vehicles know where the other vehicles are, so we can find, and that's another way to find animals. We help each other. I know Tingana was off Triple M North this morning, very close to the boundary. I'm just going to go follow up there. Yeah, so there we go. We're going to try see if they can find that leopard where Tristan left him. It is good weather for the leopards because they can move quite a bit in this cool weather. So he's probably not going to be where he was this morning. Hi Gillian. Gillian is wondering how many types of big cats are there. Well, here we have lion, leopard and cheetah are the big cats we get here in this part of South Africa, but across the world there's quite a few different big cats. You get jaguars and you get tigers as well, and snow leopards and clouded leopards and what else? What am I missing? Any you can think of, Brian? I think that's most of them, all the big cat species. The biggest big cat is of course the tiger, and that lives in India and Asia. The second biggest is the lion. So there's no sign of that leopard coming through here yet. Now Kingston is wondering, are leopards big? They're quite big. A big male will weigh about 200 pounds. And they'll be capable of taking an antelope like an impala up a tree so the other animals can't steal it from them. And there are some impala. These are all boy impala. Now the girls don't have horns. Here we go. Hello, boys. Didn't you know there's a leopard around here? You've got to be careful. Now, impala is one of the leopard's favorite foods. Also, the most numerous antelope in Africa. Now, they eat both leaves from the grass and from the trees, which enables them to fill a vast variety of habitats. They are incredibly good generalists, and they have been exactly the same for 1.6 million years. Their design is so good that they haven't had to evolve any further. So you can find fossilized bones of impala that are exactly the same as would be inside these guys that are 1.6 million years old. Okay, well, we know the leopard's not here, otherwise the impala would be snorting. So when they see a leopard or a lion, they go poof, poof, and they let all the other impala know that there's danger close by. Okay, so we're going to go to the exact last place that Tristan had that leopard this morning, and see if maybe he didn't just decide to snooze there. Hi, Gillian. Gillian would like to know how many types of gazelles are there. Well, we don't get any gazelles here. Impala is not a gazelle. In South Africa, we only get one species of gazelle, and it doesn't occur in this part of South Africa, and that is, it's called a springbok. But let me just think. There's probably there's leopard tracks there. I think we found some leopard tracks. Let me have a look. Let's have a look here. A closer look. Could this be where that leopard walked? No, it's not. Just hyena tracks, unfortunately, and they're not very clear ones, so... Oh, hang on. No, just hyena. Not very clear, so you can't see them, but that leopard was close to here, so we've got to just make sure we double check. So we're talking about gazelles. So as I said, we only get one type of gazelle in South Africa, and that's called a springbok, and they like to live in the desert areas or the drier areas. And in East Africa, you get Thompson's gazelles in Kenya and Tanzania, and Grant's gazelles. I'm trying to think, there's a Sumering's gazelle, and there's a desert gazelle. So probably about 5 or 6 different species of gazelles in Africa. So I found this male leopard's tracks in this area many times, so I'm just checking very carefully. Now, Sienna, hello Sienna, would like to know, why do they have antlers? Well, they don't actually have antlers. Antelope don't have antlers, only deer. So those are horns. They don't fall off every season. If they break, they don't grow back, and they'll have them for their whole lives. Unlike deer, whose antlers fall off every at the end of the mating season. Okay. Where is this leopard hiding now? Now, of course, leopards have very, very good camouflage, so it makes them quite difficult to find, but we will keep trying. So while we do that, let's go see what Taylor's found.
You're going to have to come a lot closer if you want to see what I've got. It's actually very nice laying down on the sand. I think I'm going to spend the whole afternoon here. Look at this little thing. I want to see what I've got. It's actually very nice laying down on the sand. I think I'm going to spend the whole afternoon here. Look at this little thing. Without wings. Now the males have got wings. The males are actually completely black in color, but the females are really beautiful, red, and then on the back of their abdomen they've got that little white sort of spot. Now, nest as well. So you got to be careful, because you don't want to be stung by something like this, because it's very, very painful and it won't be very nice. And if any of you have ever been stung by a wasp or a bee before, I promise you, you can times it by 10. And that's what it would feel like to be stung by a velvet ant. So you want to keep away from them. But you can look at them, but don't touch them or try and pick them up, because they might get scared and think that you're trying to eat them, and then, well, that will mean that you'll get stung. But we've actually got another little bug for you that I want to show you. Are you ready to see my favorite spider in the whole wide world? Because I'm ready to show you my favorite spider. Come and look at this. Here it is. It's so cool. Now look at the, no, little spider, stay. It's turned around. And wait, I'm going to see if I can get it to face the other way. There it is. Is that fine, VM? I just have to try and angle it nicely. I'm hoping it's going to turn and face you, because I think you can just see its bottom at the moment. Or is it turned around? Nope. Let's see. Come out a little bit. See, it's made it join these two leaves together. Now, this is a jumping spider. I'm sure you get lots of jumping spiders where you're from. Come on, show us your eyes. And I actually want to show you, because I think out of all the spiders, these spiders have the most beautiful face. Come out and show us. It was sitting so nicely earlier, and then it's decided to turn away and not show us. But they are incredible jumpers. And the only reason why it's used a little bit of silk here is not to try and catch any insects or other spiders, they like to eat other spiders, is that it's just to make a little shelter for itself. So you can see how it's joined the leaves together, and that silk is very, very, very strong. So I reckon I could probably pull and tug at that a little bit, and it wouldn't rip those leaves apart. So it's just resting at the moment. So what they do is when they want to go out and hunt, come on, turn around for us, they'll go out, they come out of its leaf, walk around on the ground, on the plants, and look for something to eat. They'll eat anything, flies, grasshoppers, and I've actually seen them eating more spiders than anything, other spiders. And then, like I said, no web, they race out, they sit first, like a lion in the long grass, and then when their prey gets close enough, they launch out and grab it. Come here. And now, Yana, you're wondering if they're poisonous. They're not at all. And I don't pick up many spiders, but I love to pick up the jumping spiders. So if they wanted to and they get quite angry with you, I'm sure that they would bite you. And it would probably be a little bit sore, but it's not going to mean that you have to go to the hospital or anything like that. So this one's okay. And sometimes if you put them on your hands, and I'm sad I can't show you, but we'll see if we can find another one. And I'm very disappointed in this spider that it didn't show us its beautiful eyes, because it was really pretty. Is that it's an amazing trick. And I don't know, I can't even remember who showed it to me. But if you can get a jumping spider to walk on your hand, and you do this, and then you do that, and then you do this again, that spider will jump from your hand to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. But you must remember not to pick up insects that you don't know, because they could be venomous. You don't want to get bitten. Now, Rian, you're actually wondering about my favorite spider. How far can Brian, not Rian. Rian's a very South African name. Sorry, Brian. Now you're wondering if how high or how far could that spider jump. They're incredible jumpers. I'm not sure in sort of centimeters. Hang on, Herbie's just told us to hang tight, so I suspect that there's... I've seen what he sees. We're going to show you in a moment. Just giving Herbie a thumbs up that I know what he's looking at. So basically, I would say probably jump about that high, so that just more than a ruler, maybe a ruler and a half, maybe even 2 rulers, but they can jump quite far. So they are better long distance jumpers than they are high jumpers. And I reckon probably, just trying to think now how far I've seen a jumping spider jump. We should have a jumping spider Olympics, and then we could really test it. But I'd say maybe 2 or 3 rulers. They're incredible how far they can jump. So I've seen some baboons. Now it might be far, but VM, can you see on that tree? You've just probably seen Herbert. He's just moving off to the side. There's a big tree that's standing up like that, a dead one, and then just down to the left there should be a baboon. Have you got? Can you see it? And Jennifer, this is just for you because I believe you're wondering if we get any monkeys. We do. We get vervet monkeys, which are grey. And then this big fella that we are staring at the moment is a Chukma baboon. So they get really, really large, much bigger than the vervet monkeys. And they will probably stand almost as high as my hip. They are not to be messed with, these creatures. But out here, we're fine because the animals have a natural fear of us. So we use that to our advantage. What happens is that we're not trying to scare the animals, but it's very important that they have a healthy respect for us and we have a healthy respect for them. So we have to treat the animals like they want to treat us. And it's important that they don't become too comfortable with us. Otherwise, then it will be exceptionally dangerous. So you'll see, if that baboon realizes that I'm here, even from this distance, it might give an alarm call, though I suspect what it will probably do is round up its whole family because they live in big troops and then run in the opposite direction. But baboons are very good to have around because they're good at spotting predators. Now, before I get into a little bit more about these baboons, you'll notice that I'm wearing a very nice khaki outfit, and Jennifer, you're wondering if we wear special clothing to stay safe. Not to stay safe, but typically, Louise, the names are coming through interestingly this afternoon. So when we're out in the bush, if you're coming on safari, it actually doesn't matter what color clothes you wear. You can wear anything you like, but if you're planning on doing a bushwalk, then I would highly recommend bringing neutral clothing, because when we're out here in the bush, we actually don't want anything to even know that we are here. We want to stay hidden. We want to view the animals in the most sort of natural way. With the cars, they know we're coming, they can hear us, so you normally keep quite quiet on the bush when you're walking, and it's nice to wear these sort of clothes. So you can look at VM's pants. VM's got his big boots on, so you've got to make sure you've got good walking shoes because there's lots of thorns and things, so you've got to have good closed shoes. And you can see I've got very little ones. These are good and nice for summer because your feet don't get too hot. It's really nice. And then what else? Sometimes you have to have bug spray. That's probably one of the most important things out here, Jenna, is because the thing that's going to affect us the most are the ticks, the parasites, and especially after all the rain, we might find some on all these grass stems. If you look very carefully, you'll often see ticks, and especially on an animal pathway. Look who's watching us. That's an Inyala down there. So on the pathways, like what that Nyala is probably going to do, where he's going to walk, you'll find little ticks waiting to jump on or grab onto the antelope or whatever animal it is, grab onto their hair, and then of course they feed on their blood. So those are the things that bother us the most. But look how relaxed he is. And typically when they see us on foot, normally they're a bit frightened and they want to run away. You may even see a bird. Might be a bit far, but there was a bird sitting on its back. We were just talking about the ticks, the parasites. That bird's fantastic. I wish that bird would sit on me sometimes because they eat the ticks. So it's going through with its beak like a fine comb and pulling out all the parasites. Not the big ones, because this is the red-billed oxpecker. And they don't eat the big ticks. The yellow-billed oxpecker prefers the bigger ones. But you can see sometimes they can be a little bit of a nuisance. You can see that animal gets a bit upset with them because sometimes they peck in the wrong place and then they have to chase them off. And also some animals are more used to it than others. Some just don't like it and they tend to chase the birds off all the time. But it's a good thing to have around. A little bush grooming service. Let's see if we can see these baboons again. Oh yes, that's an even better view now, Vian. There we go. So you can look down there. You see on that same fallen tree again. So Rio, you're wondering why baboons have long tails. It's important for monkeys to have long tails, though these monkeys down here unfortunately don't use their tails as another arm, because lemurs and things will often use their tails as another appendage, so like an arm, so they'll hold on to branches with it for stability, whereas these guys don't. But it does help them balance when they're climbing up tall trees and walking on narrow branches. It helps it. It's almost like if we do this when we walk on something narrow, it helps you balance. But having a long tail is the same thing, like with a leopard and a cheetah. It helps stabilizes you. It helps you balance as you go along. Herbie, do you think we should go and have a look and see what those baboons do? Should we try sneak up to them? Herbie's agreed. He says we should try sneak up on the baboons. So now this is important. They're not far. We're not going to try and get too close. So we've got to be very, very careful. We've got to go from shrub to shrub, and then also maybe use the termite mounds, and we'll try and just get a little bit closer. But we're going to go back across into Brent's vehicle and see if he's had any luck finding Tingana.
Unfortunately, no luck, but Brian and I are busy being stunk out now by possibly one of the world's biggest stink bugs ever. It's definitely one of the biggest ones I've ever seen in this area. And it's a really strong smell coming from the stink bug at the moment. So he flew into me. Massive. Now we found tracks of that leopard, but unfortunately they head out of our area, so I'm going to go look for some different leopards now. Now Lana says, are there lots of bugs here? There are lots and lots and lots of bugs, especially in our summer months. When it's winter, we don't get so many. Sorry, there's a car coming. Let's get off the road. Okay, let's just move out of the way, stop the traffic jam. I mean, this is massive. Absolutely massive stink bug. Look at that, incredible. Ah, well, let's keep moving. I don't want to touch the stink bug too much because it smells. Oh, road's busy today. Yasmin would like to know, do stink bugs sleep? Well, Yasmin, I'm sure they do. They doze more than sleep, I'd say, and to try and keep away from predatory animals. So they will rest, but they don't really sleep like we do. Now, Brian's wondering what happens if you touch a stink bug. Well, Brian, they make a stink, and it's one of their ways of trying to defend themselves against predators. Hi, Andrew. Good, thanks. Where were those in Glove?
You still see them from that junction bumper road there.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
So they're beautiful.
Oh, awesome, thank you. Tingana went deeper into Arathusa. I think you might cross into Hoffman's the way the tracks are going.
Alright, thank you so
Cheers. So you can see there's lots of other safari vehicles out, and we all chat to each other on the radio to try help and find animals. And I've got some good news that there are some elephants up around the corner. So we're going to try and get to those eddies. Kingston's wondering, do stink bugs blend in with the leaves? Indeed they do, but if they get spotted by a predator and the predator grabs them, they'll release that very bad smell to try and make sure nothing eats them. So those elephants should be around here somewhere. Oh, we're starting to get a few little raindrops. I don't think we're going to get any raindrops this afternoon, but you never know. Okay, Eddies, elephants, where are you hiding? You would be amazed that even an animal as big as an elephant can disappear. Now, Malibu Elementary wants to know, who are the stink bugs predators? Well, certain bird species, but mostly other bugs also, and certain snake species. But yeah, I'd say mostly other bugs who can deal with the stink of the stink bug. Assassin bugs and things like that. Okay, so those elephants were somewhere around here. There they are. Okay, we found the elephants. Yay! Looks like a nice big herd of elephants. So there'll be females and young ones. Here we go. Hello, Ellies. Oh, isn't this amazing? We're right behind the biggest living land mammal, the African elephant. Now, Dexter is wondering about their trunks. What do they use them for? Well, Dexter, for everything. They use them to drink, they use them to eat, to break branches, to pick up fruit, to breathe. So, a very, very important part of an elephant. Hello, Ellies. These two look like they're up to mischief. Two young boys. Hello, you. Yes, you're very scary and very big. It's just a youngster. Oh, there we go. As little boys are playing. Ayana is wondering, why are elephants so quiet? Well, they're not always quiet. They can make lots of different noises and very loud noises. At the moment, I think they're heading out looking for marula fruit. Now, you saw a marula tree with Taylor earlier. I think they're going to see if they can find some ripe fruit. Oh, there's a little baby up ahead as well. It's a nice big group. Hi, Graydon. Graydon wants to know, what eats elephants? Well, the only animal that sometimes eats elephants, and that's only when they're little, is a lion. And there's a very little one to the left a bit, Brian. Look at him. Hello, little guy. So, probably about 7 or 8 months old, looking at him. They're just wonderful. I can always spend a lot of time with elephants. They're always up to something. And these two little boys here are having so much fun wrestling with each other. Now, they need a lot of food to eat. An adult will eat up to sort of 300 to 400 pounds in a day. Now, Aubrey is wondering, are elephants almost extinct? Not in this area, Aubrey. In this area, we've got a very healthy population of elephants, but in certain parts of Africa, they are under threat. But I wouldn't say they're nearly extinct yet. But we're very lucky. We've got lots and lots of elephants here. There's about 17,000 in the Greater Kruger. It's a big herd. There must be at least 25 of them. And just more keep coming out of the bushes. Are those two still going at it? Little teenage boys. Well, maybe not quite teenagers yet. They're probably about 9, 10 years old. Lovely big herd. Everywhere I look, more elephants just keep appearing. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, a little trumpet. Katie is wondering, how many types of elephants are there in the world? 2, Katie, with some subspecies as well. So you've got your African savanna elephant, which is what these guys are, and then you've got your African forest elephant, but they are quite closely related to the savanna elephants. And then you have the Asian elephant. So, but if you have to complete separate species, it's the Asian and the African elephant. Having so much fun fighting with each other. Now their skin is so thick that the thorns. Look at the little one. Look at the little one. Tiny one playing. Charging at one of its bigger cousins. Oh, so much going on with the Eddies. That's why they're always so wonderful to spend time with. Oh, big wrestling match now. Okay, well, I'm going to stay with these elephants for a bit longer, and it's been so great having all you guys with us. We do love our school safaris, so hopefully you'll join us again soon. But for now, we're going to go across to Tristan on Cheetah Plains with a spotted surprise.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a very special little spotted cat. So we've come all the way down to Cheetah Plains, and that's why it's taken us a little bit of time to get going. We've had a few little technical issues, and so my name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Craig with me, and we have come, like I say, to Cheetah Plains in search of different spotted cats, but we ultimately got this one, which is great. Now, I'm not 100% sure who it is exactly. The leopards of this particular area I haven't seen too much, but I think it's either Nkanyeni or her son Batumi, but I can't see 100%. We've just come across her on the termite mound, and so difficult to see who it is exactly. So the viewers out there that are very good with the ID kits of these leopards maybe can point us in the right direction as to who this is, but I'm going to hedge my bet on Nkanyeni. It would be the right sort of area for her. We're right up on the eastern side of Cheetah Plains, and she likes to spend a bit of time here, so that's what I think it is. I might be wrong, but the ears are very large, and so are the paws, which makes me think that it might be a young male. Like I say, it's very difficult to see its back end at the moment because it's tucked in the grass, but you can see very large paws there, and then very big ears that it seems like it hasn't grown into just yet. So there we go. And isn't that absolutely spectacular? Perfectly posing on this mound. Now, I believe she was drinking, or he was drinking, at a little pan close by, and has now come up onto this mound. And as we were coming in, there was actually a male impala that was coming down to the same pan. So from that elevation there, I'm pretty sure this leopard will be able to see very clearly what's going on, and be able to then see that impala and potentially then hunt. The amazing thing is that the area that we're in at the moment is that if this leopard comes down and into the grass, it's going to just disappear. The grass is so long that this cat will be able to get out of here without anybody even knowing or seeing, and so it's the perfect place to watch these pans behind us and these little water systems. And as the impalas or varying animals come to drink, it can use this thicket on the edge of the pan to then stalk up close to be able to then hunt. You can see it's looking around quite a bit to see what's going on. I wonder if there's maybe not something moving behind there. So I can't see what she's watching. So it could be, like I say, there's something moving in the grass. The grass is so long it potentially could be something like a warthog, and we would never even be able to see it. Sorry, one of our aerials just caught on a branch, so she got a bit of a fright there. Do apologize. But you can see not phased too much. She hasn't really turned around, still fixated on whatever's rustling in the grass behind her. Now you'll find that today, because of the conditions that we've got these overcast, grey, cloudy conditions, and it is the perfect conditions for a leopard to be moving around. You'll often find them in these conditions active during the day. They'll spend even the hottest part of the day moving around. It's quite dreary and grey, and so it's very difficult actually to make out shapes in this, and so for them it's cool enough to move around, as well as the fact that it's dark enough that the other animals don't see them nearly as well as they would if it was very sunny. Roger and Liz, I think I would agree with you. It looks like a young male to me as well, so it looks like it's got big ears and big paws, so Vatumi would be my guess as well. But let's see, I'm hoping it's going to come down the mound and I'll be able to see clearly, but it does look like him. It's definitely quite a bulky head, and so that would be my guess as well, one of the two of those. Now, I know that Thandi's other cub, Kuchava, spends a bit of time here, but that is a little smaller than this, as a female, so I'm pretty sure this is Vatumi. Now I wonder where Kanyeni would be. I know she's been hanging around with him, so hopefully she's somewhere here too. Maybe that's what he's been looking at over his shoulder. It wouldn't be nice if the two of them were together, so we'll definitely stick around here for a little bit of time and see what happens and see what this little cat gets up to. And while we do that, I believe Taylor's got a little jumping frog.
Frog, and this one isn't jumping at the moment, Tristan, thank goodness, because it's the first painted reed frog that I've found since I've been here. We hear them all the time, but these little frogs are actually really tricky to spot, and we were so lucky to come walking through here. We're down at the dam, but sadly what I originally wanted to show you is now underwater, which I suppose is a good thing. But we've got this little fella who's decided that not quite ready to swim around, and it's actually very common for these frogs to sit perched up on some leaves or some little twigs, and they make the most beautiful noise. But this has to be the most unbelievable color that I've ever seen a painted reed frog to sort of have, or patterns and things, and it's really tiny. I'm actually going to just bring my hand in just to show you. Look how small that is. Tiny little critter. And the only reason I spotted it, I can tell you, if it had its sort of more greens on it, I wouldn't have seen it at all. But the fact that it's got this black, orange and white on it, it stood out like an absolute sore thumb. But it is indeed such a beautiful creature, and I reckon that if we were to look hard enough around here, we'd probably find a couple more of them. And if maybe Brent or Tristan come past here tonight, we'll probably hear this chap and, well, the rest of its friends making one really big noise. But I suppose it's a beautiful sound, the chorus of frogs, isn't it? And we've been lucky. We've been seeing so much frog action. You heard the banded rubber frogs with Tristan. We've had bullfrogs fighting with Jamie, and I think Tristan too, and me earlier on in the year. It's been exceptional. So this is another one to add to the list. Like we do bird lists, I think it's a good idea to make a frog list as well. And I think the frogs are harder to find than the birds, so a little bit more of a challenge. So add the good old painted reed frog. We should have a little skim around here. Let's see what else we can find. It's actually really interesting. Let's see. We need to find a nice animal pathway around here. It's very wet, and there's been a couple of creatures that have been wallowing around. We've also got to be careful for crocodiles. Like in an area like this, I probably wouldn't recommend coming to walk on your own, just because it could really be anything hiding in the long grass, big pythons and things. So just, of course, watch your step and make sure you don't slip on the mud either, because you wouldn't want to fall on your bottom. Let me have a look. These plants, actually, I'm just checking down there. There doesn't seem to be anything, but these plants are really cool. We've been seeing a lot of insects on them. Is that rain that I'm feeling? It's a spit of rain. Can you believe it? Both Brent and I were wrong, though I don't think it's going to end up being too much. Let me just have a quick squiz underneath here. Well, as we're searching here, looking underneath all these leaves, Craig, you have a question about that frog that we've just seen. You're wondering if it is poisonous. Typically, frogs that are brightly coloured, or I've walked us right under a dead tree here, and typically it's an aposematic coloration. So we see it a lot on butterflies and insects, and then of course you can see it on frogs too. I can't, to the top of my head, I can't think of a toxin specifically that the painted reed frog exudes, but I can imagine would probably be very foul tasting if a dog or something were to pick it up and put it in their mouth. Often you see that foamy substance coming out of their mouth, so it must be toxic in some sort of way. Another thing though is what animals like to do, but this case this is not happening, is that animals will mimic. So sort of the whole evolution process has allowed for other insects to look like potentially a toxic one. For instance, like you often see with the I've gone all blank now. The African monarchs, you get the monarch butterflies doing the massive migrations from the States to Mexico. They're a good one because they're toxic. They normally feed on milkweed or things that have a toxic substance to it. And now I've gone completely blank. I think is it not a painted lady? I've gone blank. Which one looks like which looks like the African monarch? But I've got pudding brain all of a sudden. Actually, who have we got sitting here? So sometimes they will do that, but that's not the case over here. We see that a lot in insects. You know, the other day I came down here, and I can't tell you, it was when, I don't know what happened, but we ended up having to say goodbye to you early. And these plants were covered, absolutely covered from head to toe, in netwing beetles, in sort of everything you can think of, flies, polyrhynchus, ants. Who's this? We have a spider. Oh, there's a very pretty spider. It's very tiny, Viam. Can you see it? Just sitting on the edge of this. No, it's gone to you. Let me turn it to you. Let me chase it. There it is. I'm going to keep my finger here just because. There we go. Now it's there. Look at that. Beautiful. I haven't actually. Oh, and it's so quick. How quickly does that spider move? I can't even see what it is from here. It's. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that thing was going to crawl away. Viam, you've obviously got it over there. Now, you are all going to have to tell me what spider that is, because at the moment it's hiding on the other side of this branch, and every time I move it races away. Though I don't blame that little spider. I suppose I do look big and scary, but I can promise you, little spider, I do not want to eat you. We're going to keep turning these trees upside down and seeing if we can find some more frogs around here, perhaps little interesting bugs, but we're going to go all the way across to Cheetah Plains with Tristan and the spotted cat.
So we're still sitting here with this leopard, and he's very, very alert. You can see looking around all over the place. There's some birds that have been calling. There was a couple little quails that were calling just now, and that's maybe what was moving around in the grass and got his attention. No sign of his mom in any of these areas that I can see, but like I say, with the grass being as long as it is, it's very possible that she could be lying somewhere close by and couldn't, be hidden from us, and we won't be able to see her just yet. I would expect, though, if the mom was here, that he would be then going up towards her and trying to get her to move around or just to play around. Young leopards often have that playful nature, and particularly weather like this, they're often all over the place when mom is around. So in all likelihood, mom has left him to go and hunt, and she's going to be off looking for food and has left him in this area. And he's got the perfect place. He's got, like I say, a bit of water that we were talking about earlier. There's protection with long grass, termite mounds, and lots of thickets around here. And if anything does come, he's getting to that age where he's going to start hunting. So, Vade, who is a new viewer, welcome Vade. I hope you are enjoying your live safari. Sorry, Zaid, sorry. We are on the far-flung corners of the Traverse area, and so a little bit difficult to hear names. But Zaid, I hope you are enjoying your live safari, and you want to know when will the cubs leave their mother. Well, it's dependent on the mom. Some mothers are a little bit more tolerable than others, and it also depends on males and females. Generally, what you will find is that the male cubs tend to stay a lot longer with the females. They tend to be mommy's boys and hold on for as long as possible. I think they know that they get a lot of food out of mom, and everything is a lot easier when mom is around. So they'll normally stay until about 2 years old, whereas the females can be ejected as early as 14 to 16 months. So it does depend. I have seen females that have stayed later towards 2, but generally it's the males that will stay that way until that age. And you'll find what happens is the female will then start to come into an estrous cycle anywhere between that 14-month and 2-year period. And when that happens, she starts to mate. And once she starts to mate, she then will have that instinct that she now needs to break away because she needs to find a safe place to have the cubs. And ultimately, these older leopards are now big enough and strong enough to look after themselves. And she then lets them go, and they'll then go off on their own and try and find their own area to dominate. If it's a female, then generally they stay quite close to the mother's natal territory, but if it's a male, they can often end up being very far away, as they'll have to travel all these little areas to go past other males that are dominant at the time until they can find an area that they're strong enough to either overthrow the existing male or where there is a vacancy and no male that's there. Now, it has just started to rain a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see what this cat does. Generally, cats are not huge fans of the rain, and so often you'll find when it starts to rain a little bit that the cats will try and find an area that they can go and get under a thicket and get out of the rain. So we'll just see what he does. I wouldn't be surprised he actually gets up and moves now. But hopefully the rain's not going to come down too hard. Like I say, we are quite far from home, so it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad though. It looks like we've got a few kind of grey clouds that might just come past, and it should hopefully clear up quite quickly and we won't get too much. But isn't he spectacular? Look at that face, got the most beautiful eyes. Now this is the first time that I've actually seen Vutumi. I've tried many times to see him, but unfortunately he always kept eluding me. So I've seen a lot of photographs of him, but never actually seen him in the flesh, and he's a beautiful little leopard. It's going to be a big boy, much like Hosana. He's got really big feet and a big head and big ears that he's still going to grow into. The interesting thing is, though, is that this little male is about 5 months older than Hosana, and Hosana is probably bigger than he is. So it just shows you how big Hosana is going to be. Now, for those of you that don't know who Hosana is one of our little princes. So he's part of the royal families, which is a group of leopards that we see quite regularly on Djuma, Karula, and then her 2 cubs, Shongila and Hosana. And so Hosana is the little boy from that. Alright, so we're going to just put some covers on our cameras and keep everything dry, and while we do that, we're going to go across to Brent and see what update he's got for us.
Well, we've decided to go look for Hosana, Shongila and Karula. I've heard they've just found Hosana, unfortunately, below outside of our Traverse area, but very close to the boundary, so he could wander back, and Shongila could very easily be in the area around Twin Dam. So that's where we're about to arrive at. Okay, here we are. Now let's start checking carefully. Remember, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV. Okay, so there's some impala, but Shongila could be hiding on the other side of the wall. Or down in the Mawati. Oh, more elephants. I can just see one at the moment, but I know there'll be a few around here. Well, let's just keep looking for Shongila quickly. I do like this area. No sign of her so far. Where are you hiding, little leopards? Well, we know Hosana is probably about 100 meters that way. this long grass. A new viewer, and sorry. Now, hello Rob, who's a new viewer, a big Safari Live welcome. And Rob would like to know, how many cats are there on Safari? Well, Rob, you never know. But normally, the leopards we see regularly is, of course, Karula, who's our dominant female, her 2 cubs, Hosana Shongile, and Tingana, the dominant male. Shadow, she's also got 2 cubs at the moment, so puts us there. Nkanyeni, Vutomi, Thandi, and her cub. So we're probably seeing regularly 10 to 15 different leopards, 3 different prides of lions, 1 male coalition. So the Birmingham boys, 4 adult males. Then Djuma pride, which is 5 females, 6 cubs. The Styx pride, which is 3 females, 2 cubs. And occasionally we see the Tsalala pride or the Mangen pride, but we don't see them that often. So there's a lot of cats around. And the thing is, we're in an open system, so you never know, we might see a cat we've never seen before on any drive. It seems like Taylor's finally found her tadpoles.
I have indeed. I'm sitting in some very stinky water at the moment, looking at these wonderful tadpoles, but sadly, they're in a little bit of trouble, because as you can see, actually those ones are even better. Let me go around the corner. Look at them. They are desperate for more water. It's a puddle, but I reckon in 2 or 3 days, unfortunately, this puddle is going to completely dry up. And like I said before, often the frogs and the toads make a mistake in their eggs, and this is a perfect case. And they're going to die. It's very sad. I always feel so sorry for them. You can see them desperately struggling. And it takes them a couple of weeks before they can get their legs. And I can't even see any legs starting to develop on any of them. But I suppose that this is life, is that they lay so many thousands and hundreds of eggs at a time, so that even if just a couple of them do survive, they will make it. I'm really surprised, though, that the kingfishers and things and other birds that will eat amphibians haven't been here and having an absolute field day. Because, well, these are tasty little treats. They definitely do the trick. And I'm surprised. Look at them all. They're hanging around on the edge here. This is mind-blowing. Why aren't they here in this water where it's deeper? They all seem to be pushing up against each other, whether it's the fact that there's not enough oxygen in the water, I'm unsure. There's even a spider. Oh, hang on, I'm going to show you a spider that will actually be feasting upon these tadpoles, so I suppose at least they're not going to waste. Are you ready, Vim? It's going to be a quick one. I'm going to stretch. It's in here, somewhere in here. Where did you go? Oh, can you see any move? There it is. There it is. There. Can you see it, Vim? Let me lift this up. Oh, hang on. There. Can you see it against the water? Oh, look how cool that is. So that's a fishing spider. And like I said, that thing looks lovely and fat. And I think it's probably been feasting on a couple of tadpoles. They'll catch tadpoles, little fish, insects, a number of different things. So you better eat up, or you better call your friends here, so at least somebody benefits from all these tadpoles being around. So maybe, Riam, are you hoping that this little splitter platter that we're having at the moment is going to turn into some big rain to give these tadpoles another go at life? I really do. And I suspect that they're probably from the bullfrogs, because we'd seen, well, a number of them. They seem to be the ones that have been out at the bout as soon as the rains will sort of come through. So I suspect it's probably them, and not new ones. Probably from the previous rains that we've had before. They're all only just starting to get legs about 2 weeks ago. But these ones may be a little bit younger than that. but definitely not just hatch straight away. It takes them quite some time to get from the egg, and I don't know if James has showed you a bullfrog egg just yet. Maybe we'll see if we can find some that haven't hatched. And then you'll see they're bigger than a normal frog egg. They're actually not tiny, but the tadpoles would have to be much smaller than this, but struggling. Should we move on to happier thoughts, Liam? I'm very sad about this tadpole, but look what I found. I've found something that's Louise, that is terrible. Louise says, I'm going to tell everybody now, Louise, are you ready for this? Louise says that I should cry them a river. It would. I wish I could cry them a river right now and give them a second lease at life. Please, rain. Please, rain. It's wonderful. Okay, have a look at this. This is quite cool. So I picked this off. I've been carrying it around with me. Can you see that? That, and you should be able to count. I'm going to turn it like this. So my hands are filthy because I've had them in the tadpole water. Oh no, I just bent the grass. Can you see the 3 little legs on that side? So this is a little beetle larvae. Well, it was a beetle larvae, and it's pupated and turned probably into a beetle now. I was trying to find which beetle it could be, but I couldn't find any on any of the surrounding pieces of grasses. But I just thought that is really cool. It almost looks like it was walking. And it's like the whole process of it going from a larvae into developing into a beetle happened very, very quickly. That's so cool. I might actually keep that and see if I can take a nice photo of it. So that's happier life. So somebody's proceeding. Hopefully it didn't get snatched up by a bird or anything. And I'd be happy to tell you that even though the baboons moved away slightly, they've actually just moved just up onto the crest over there, and every now and then the big male baboon looks at us and from a high sort of vantage point, and he sort of shouts at us a little bit. He's not happy with us. Yeah, we're going to do a big loop around and go and check some areas, see if we can find anything interesting. Now, I'm actually not certain as to which leopard Tristan has, but nonetheless, isn't it great we have a leopard, the sunset safari? Let's go take another look.
Indeed, there's no better way to finish the day, Taylor. A leopard on Sunset Drive. It's beautiful conditions and it's posing absolutely perfectly for us. So he's still sitting on top of his termite mound, and he is a really pretty little cat. He's got beautiful, striking look about him. Very interesting coloured eyes with this really nice big ears that he's still going to grow into. So he will be a very good looking male when he's a little bit older. Now, he's had a bit of a tough time. He's had a few different males that have chased him around a little bit. I know he's had quite a few run-ins with Quarantine, which is from Karula's lineage. So he's been seen around this little one a few times, and they've been chasing each other around. So it's getting to that point where that Quarantine is now starting to see this young male as a potential threat. So the rain stopped and we put all our covers on, and we thought it was for nothing, but it's now starting to get a little bit harder again. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's actually going to stand up. He seems not to be too fazed by it. You can see he's kind of still holding his head up, his eyes are open. Often when it really starts to rain, you find the ears are going to flatten, and they're going to squint their eyes a little bit so that the water doesn't get in their eyes, and then they'll come down and find a thicket. And last week we had the lions doing it, so it was quite entertaining. So there we go, James. So James has checked all the spot patterns, and he says that it's Kuchava, which I was talking about earlier. So it's Thandi's older daughter her most recent daughter that has left her. So it is actually a female, but it's got a very male-like look to it. It's got very big ears and big paws, so a little bit confusing. And like I say, the way it's lying on this mound is quite difficult. Now, I've never seen Kuchava either, so it'll be a first for me either way. But it's a beautiful leopard, I can tell you that much. So if it's a female, then she's quite big. It's a little bit bigger than what even her mom is. Her mom is quite a small leopard, and this female is, like I say, it's got very masculine features to it. It's got quite a bulky head and big ears and big paws. But I would imagine that Kuchava could be her. It is in the right area as well. Thandi used to be in this particular area as well. So let's see. We'll definitely get a perfect view now, hopefully, if it turns around. It is a female, so must be Kuchava then. Well done, James. That's the advantage that we have of having viewers that can match the spot patterns and give us the identities of these leopards. Now, this was the only female, or the only part of Thandi's lineage that I hadn't seen. I had seen her original male, Wabayiza, who unfortunately was killed by the sticks, and I've seen her most current litter, but I've never seen this particular female, so I've now seen the whole of Thandi's lineage, which is great. She's actually my favorite female, so it's very, very nice to see her. Now, if we just sit quietly, you'll actually hear the pitter-patter of the rain falling. And isn't that amazing? So this rain falling, you can hear for us it starts to make quite a bit of noise. Now you would imagine for any antelope or any potential prey animal, this rain is going to start making a lot of noise, and it's going to be much harder to be able to hear predators coming, because often things like kudu, nyala, bushbuck, because of the loud thickets, they're really big to be able to hear what's going on. So when it rains like this, it falls right into the predator's hands for hunting, because it becomes quite noisy out here, and so the prey animals are not sure what's going on. Also, the wind tends to swirl a little bit, so scent is mixed around, and the rain itself will deaden the scent of this leopard. It will make it much harder for those prey animals to smell them. So these are perfect conditions, and the darker it gets, because tonight is going to be very dark once the sun sets, the better it will be, and this leopard, I'm sure, will start to look for hunting. When she stood up there, you could see she was actually quite slim, so I'm sure she's going to be looking for a meal, and I would imagine that this is going to be the perfect place for her to spend time waiting. Where she is now, with these pan systems that we have here, it really is a great place. So Alex, who's 14 years old, wants to know if the termites irritate these leopards while they're lying on the mounds. Well, Alex, on a mound like this, in all likelihood, this termite mound is no longer active. So there's no longer any termites inside there. There is no evidence of any new building on this termite mound. And so in all likelihood, no termites here, and that's why this leopard can lie on it. But let's say it was an active termite mound. Generally, the termites are not too worried about a leopard be lying on top, because they know that the structure is built very, very well and will be able to support the weight of a leopard. They also know that a leopard's not going to start scratching and opening up the termite mound to try and expose the termites for food. So the only time a leopard will eat termites is when the termites are actually hatching. So that's when you've got your winged allets, is what they're called, and they come out of the termite mound in the hundreds of thousands, and then it's very easy for the leopard just to lap them up. But they won't actively go and claw at a termite mound to open it up for the termites itself. And so the termites know if they're just inside, then there's no need to worry at all. They don't have to be too phased by this cat lying on top. At the end of the day, the cat's not doing any damage, and ultimately it's going to keep away other predators of termites. So things like birds, it's going to keep away aardvarks, pangolins, mongoose. So actually having a leopard sitting on top of your mound is not the worst thing in the world. So you can see the leopard is just listening to that bird calling in the distance. It's a blacksmith lapwing, which is a bird that often frequents watery areas and spends their time on the edges of the water. And so that bird just took off and flew and made a bit of a noise, and so this leopard just turned around just to see, because often those birds will call if there's a disturbance from a predator. So sometimes they'll turn around just to see what's going on. But you can see now that the rain started to fall, how she's now tucking herself up. So she's getting her head down and just kind of covering up a little bit, getting those ears facing down so that the rain's not falling inside her ear or into her eyes, and she's going to make herself as small as possible. And if the rain starts to get heavier, then I'd be very surprised if she stayed on top of that mound. In all likelihood, she'll come down and go into some sort of a thicket that we have close by. Lots of very well vegetated areas around us, perfect for a leopard to go and lie in a rainy afternoon. So R and W, you are wondering, what is the difference between a leopard and a cheetah? Well, there's quite a few differences between them. Luckily, we see both of them here, and this afternoon we actually came looking for a cheetah, so we're still going to continue that mission a little bit later and see if maybe we can go down to a big open section and maybe we'll get lucky with a cheetah, and then it'll be very obvious to you. But while we're sitting here with the leopard, I can explain a little bit about the leopard. And the leopard, you'll see, has the first and most obvious is the spot pattern of this animal. If you have a look, you have little black spots that look like they've exploded outwards with an orangey center, so they're called rosettes. A cheetah does not have that. A cheetah has a solid spot. It looks like a little polka dot on its coat, and so that is the major easy difference to see between them if an animal was just curled up like this. The other thing with the cheetah is that it's a lot more slender and taller. It has a much smaller head than what the leopard does. It also has these little black lines that come down its cheeks and around its mouth, whereas the leopard doesn't have that. The leopard will have white underneath the eyes, and unfortunately this leopard is now tucked up, so I can't show you that, but just now when it puts its head up we'll have a look at it. And then the leopard's body is a lot stouter. It's got a much shorter tail that is rounded at the end and not flattened at the end like a cheetah will have. Also, you would very seldom find a cheetah in thick bush areas like this. This is more leopard habitat, so leopards tend to occupy a very wide array of biological systems, so grassland, deserts, mountains, riverine thickets, whereas a cheetah tends to like more open clearings. And the reason why is because a cheetah, given that it's
We are live from the middle of Africa, so sometimes we do have a few little technical gremlins, but they seem to be sorted out. So we're heading towards the Buffalo's Hook waterhole at the moment, trying to find if Karula is still on Djuma. The Inkahumas are unfortunately in Buffalo's Hook at the moment, so outside of our grasp. Now I just got an update that they're apparently in the far west, past Arathusa, beyond Arathusa, 3 new young male lions that no one knows who they are have been spotted on a buffalo kill. So that's very interesting to see. Apparently around 3 or 4 years old, so still in the nomadic stage. So it'll be interesting to see if they come this way. And of course, as you'll remember, when the Birminghams first took over, there's complete upheaval when new male lions come into an area. But if they're still quite young, 3 or so, they might just move through on their way to finding their own territory. Remember, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or email questions at WildEarthTV. It has been a bit slow, but it seems like you've been having a great time with Kuchava. I'm a little jealous. It's one of the few leopards I've never seen. Quite interesting that she's that far into Nkanyen's territory, because 3 in a row plan is very much solidly in Nkanyen's territory. So Nkanyeni was up to the north, I think, in Torchwood at the moment. Okay, we're nearly at the waterhole. What wonders will it hold? I think we might have some birds. Okay, we're nearly there. We'll just have a quick squiz. Oh, looking a bit quiet. Now, of course, it is a bit fuller since the rain. Oh, was there a hippopotamus in here, maybe? Oh dear. I don't think there is. Oh, it's very quiet. No signs of even any aquatic bird species or waders. Oh dear. we're just going to have to keep on searching. Now that really lovely big herd of elephants we had earlier, I think is heading towards quarantine, so I might do the same to try catch up with him. While we do that, let's go see how Taylor's trudging around is going.
Definitely checking all sorts of places. We didn't find any more cool bugs, unfortunately, under some of those leaves, but we've come across a mud wallow. It's a big one. It's a stinky one again. It's amazing how quickly this water becomes polluted from the buffalo and all the different creatures, warthogs and things coming in here and having a wallow. But as you can see, like Quarry Pan, if you remember the other evening I showed you, this is also infestated with all the grass seeds and all things like that. You can see it's not too wonderful, unfortunately. And this is also going to dry, but it seems to be a very popular wallow. And the one day I came here and there were lots of terrapins and things swimming around in here. None today, unfortunately, but I think that there was an elephant or something drinking here, just for the amount of water that unfortunately has been all dropped around here, especially the fact that the water comes all the way down over here. So I suspect a couple of elephants were probably moving around. I don't think they'd be drinking from here. This looks a little bit dirty, and we know that the Vuyatela Dam is not far from here, and they prefer that beautiful fresh water that comes straight out of the hose pipe. We've seen them breaking that a number of times, which elephants love to do. So they probably would have come here after they had a drink, walked across the drainage line, not a far walk at all if you're an elephant, and had a little splash around here in the mud. Should we find the tree that they're probably scratching up against? That would be quite interesting. And we've got to look for an open spot. I haven't seen it yet,